Anthony Ferraro, Dan Mancina. Two blind guys collide to bring you Four Bad Eyes Podcast.
Welcome, baby, to the
first ever episode of Four Bad Eyes.
That's right. We're in the home studio here
in Michigan, baby.
Anthony drove out with his lovely wife.
I drove.
Anthony drove, yep.
Drove half.
The Beamer.
No Beamer. Subi for life.
And yeah, we're kicking off, I gotta get on this mic. Everything Four Bad Eyes from YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course Twitter, this podcast, baby. Four Bad Eyes, two rad guys.
This is it. It's the start. I'm Anthony Ferraro.
I'm Dan Mancina.
And this is where it all begins. We're going to talk about everything on this podcast. Life, things we've been through, stories, things we've learned along the way, and get some interesting guests as well, and just let it all hang out here.
Yeah, baby.
So you can send in your questions. Please follow along, like, subscribe. 5, anywhere from 1 to 5-star review.
Yep, you can... Also, questions, you can send those to Dan@fourbadeyes.com.
Or Anthony@fourbadeyes.com.
It is .com for the email, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're official. We got the real deal.
It's going. It's all begun.
Well, yeah, let's get into this.
Let's get into it right now.
The Genesis, baby. So,
first of all, I want to hear real quick, just state your eye condition for everyone.
Oh, lovely.
And when you lost your sight.
Yeah, so we're both blind.
We're both blind. It's Four Bad Eyes.
Yes, that's where the name comes from. I was born with a hereditary disease called RP, or retinitis pigmentosa. And that just pretty much means you're going to lose your vision throughout your life. Different for everybody. Mine really hit in my mid-20s, and I was, fully blind at about end of my 30s, right around there, 29, I think.
So pretty good sight leading up until the vision loss, right?
Yeah, I used to drive around, do everything that a sighted person, I guess, would do. So
still doing that.
And I guess I still do everything a sighted person. Yeah, exactly.
That's the best part. And I also have Leber's congenital amaurosis, and it's a degenerative eye condition. And I was born with a little bit of sight, and then it just went pretty rapidly and left with light perception and shadows in the perfect daylight. But Dan has no light perception, actually.
No
so that's
LP.
one difference.
No LP, as we call it in the business.
But this is something really interesting I want to get into right off the bat, because I'm really interested on this. And first of all, excuse me for having to hold the mic, because I forgot my mic.
Wait, you are holding it?
I'm just propping it. I'm like holding it on the table.
An hour, here we go,
good.
Dude.
When you work out my arm, we're good.
Yeah, we're still working out the bugs of it. We just set this up.
It's on though. And I met Dan in June, and it was skateboarding weekend at Modern Skate Park, and shout out to George likewise.
What up, George?
And it was awesome. Dan told me I had a 50-50 for the first time ever, and that was the first time I ever really learned my first bit of street, and I really got into skateboarding. But I met Dan briefly, it was a quick weekend, and then, we kind of stayed in touch, and now we're back together now, and today he comes up to me, and he shows me his thumb. And his thumb, it showed just lift it up.
Here's my regular thumb for the camera, for the viewers on the YouTube, and my right thumb I lost the top of my right thumb.
I thought he was joking.
The knuckle up is gone.
I touched it, and I was like, what am I touching? And I, freaked out.
So I give this podcast 1.5 thumbs up, dude. 1.5.
So please, I need to know how this happened, dude.
All right.
Come on.
This happened when I was 7 years old. This is when I lived back in East Detroit, East Point. And my mom used to run around this track. I have 3 older brothers, so I think 2 brothers were there, and one of my brother's buddies was there. My mom would run around this track, getting exercise, and in the middle of the track, the field would be, there was the long jump with a little sand pit.
Yeah, right.
And then there was some football equipment for practicing football. There's like the sleds you can run into. And then there is this thing that I think is called a fumble drill. So there's two arcs, right? Two upside down U's, kind of one and another one like a couple feet. And on the sidebars of those, there's these padded arms that come out at like 3 levels, like head high, chest high, and then a little bit lower, waist high.
Right.
So, and on these padded arms, they're on these like really big springs. And I just punched my mic. And so the springs are supposed to have like a cap on them, a little safety, like rubber, movable, bendy cap, right? Mm-hmm. So my buddy was laying across the top row, or my brother's buddy was laying across the top row, and I was climbing the side of it. And I put my, like, grabbing onto the bar. I don't really vaguely remember like the actual details, but for some, my thumb went inside of that spring right at the same time that my buddy slipped down through the arms. So that arm like sprung up while my thumb was in there, and it like squished my thumb and like cut it off pretty much.
Oh.
And he landed on the ground, and my thumb was still in there, and I didn't even know.
Stop.
I didn't know what happened, and blood dripped on his chest while he was on the ground. And we pulled the arm down. I gotta get on this mic, damn it. We pulled the arm down, and I pull my hand out, and my thumb is hanging by a little piece of skin, and it's like mashed, right? Just hanging by a piece of skin. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So I run up to my first brother, Alex. He sees one look, and he's just like, starts screaming, running around, Dan cut his thumb off, Dan cut his thumb off, like, just freaking out. So I'm like, all right, he's useless. So I run. Well, my older brother was...
That's the initial reaction, dude. Just to bug out. Like
freaking, yeah. He saw it, was like, whoa. Like,
don't know what to do. Freeze up.
Yeah. My mom was, I think, like all the way to the other side of the track. And so I went up to my other brother, and he kind of has bad eyes, and he's like squinting, like pulling like his one eye. He would like do this thing where like he'll pull his skin to like make his eyelashes like narrow, He's like, what? And he gets closer, and he's like, oh my God. So he had a little more.
It? Like, did you feel the pain at this point?
No, I didn't feel.
You were in pure shock.
Yeah,
like,
I was in.
Trauma.
Oh yeah, straight shock. Even when I look back, I don't remember any pain from anything. So so he had a little more sense, and he runs and like grabs my mom or something. And my mom, I don't really remember her reaction. She must have just been like, "Holy shit, dude, what?" And there was another dude running around the track. He saw a look, and he like turned white, and he's like, do you have a car? Can you drive? And my mom's like, yeah, we're good. He's like, okay. He's gone. He left, dude. So we get in, and down the street is there's a firehouse. So we drove to the firehouse, just knock on the door, right? They come out, they're like, oh shit. They're like, oh my God.
This is not good.
All I remember is them wrapping gauze around my hand, and I had like this basketball-sized wrap of gauze on my hand. They didn't even give me a tourniquet, I don't think, which they probably should have, but they put me in an ambulance, and then I don't remember much. It was like fading in and out in the ambulance. I remember like waking up a couple times and like sirens.
That is so
passing out.
Disgusting.
I guess the doctor said I was like in such shock that I was like, I was like pretty much dying because I was just freaking out and losing all this blood. I remember when I was driving in my mom, we were in a van, a little Astro van, the poo van.
Astro van.
You remember the sliding door? I put my hand. All she had was like this card. Like someone had sent my mom a card, and I just had my hand on this card. And then I don't remember much. Hospital. I remember they gave me a little too much morphine at one point, and my breathing started slowing down. And they
How old were you?
I was 7.
Oh my God.
And then honestly, I don't remember much. They tried to sew it back on, but it was because it kind of got squished pretty much when it got cut off, so it didn't attach and grow back.
That is so gnarly.
And it turned into this little look. It was like purple, dude, like a grape, dark purple. And then the doctor, when we went back after a couple weeks, was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna cut." He's like, "I was like, can you cut the skin off?" He's like, "No, I'm just gonna pull it." I'm like, "No, cut it." He's like, "No, it's fine." Fucking yanks it, hurt, and now that part where he ripped it is sensitive.
Oh man!
Bastard didn't cut the fucking skin, which maybe the cutting might have hurt more, but I don't know.
Has that thumb affected you?
No, that was the only time I got straight A's because I didn't go back to school. It was like close to the summer. I didn't go back to school for the rest of the year, and like it was kind of tight as a little kid because like people are coming over like bringing me like
food.
My mom's friend brought me like the Jungle Book on VHS.
Oh, there you go.
That was cool. And then but I remember
getting hurt is cool.
I remember coming home from the hospital and that card was still in the van, and it was just like. Blood when it dries it turns brown. Oh. So like the whole card was just like this dark like brown dried blood.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was probably the gnarliest trauma injury I've had. Way gnarlier than anything in skateboarding for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know what my gnarliest. Oh, I already
You did, yeah.
I talked about. Oh man.
Future episode, we got it. Hilarious. You getting knocked out? Yeah, that'll be the next episode.
But dude, today was a good day. We already did a bunch. We filmed a bunch, and Dan actually taught me a new trick once again.
Dude, I was saying that you've come like back in June. We're in what is it? December 10th or something right now.
Middle of December.
You've come like you just learned how to 50-50, and that was like maybe a 6-inch ledge,
if that. And
then. I mean, you entered your first contest now, like a week ago, last weekend. You on the ledge outside. I mean, 50-50, super long, solid, crazy, man. How far you've come that quick?
They are fun. We did today. He taught me how to nose slide.
With front side or back side?
It was backside.
Yes.
I'm learning my names of skateboarding tricks.
Yeah.
Still very.
It's a whole dictionary. You gotta know.
It's just like judo. Like when I started learning judo, it was like I had to learn Japanese, dude. Like it was like seiyonagi is an arm throw, like ippon seiyonagi, that means like one arm shoulder throw, and there's just so many names like mate. There's so much Japanese in judo, it's insane. Like every single name of the moves are Japanese.
Damn.
And it's just insane.
A lot. Yeah.
It's like that's one part of training. Same with skateboarding. It's like you have to learn names. It's like that's a whole nother part.
It is crazy. I just grew up doing it. I've been skating I think since I was 7 is when I started pushing around. But I think about that, how like just the vocabulary, like how many. That's crazy. Like every spot has a name. Yeah, every trick has a name.
I start making up names. I'll be like, I did a heel side, like the shove it that goes behind you and
heel side, front shove.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was using heel side and toe side. Yeah. It's like I don't know, dude. But no, it's been fun. Like when I get into stuff, it's like you basically just kind of. I get so obsessed. Like I throw myself completely into stuff. Like. It happened with everything in my life. Like playing guitar.
I go all in, yeah.
When I first started playing guitar, my dad used to call me stone hands. Like, I didn't even know what rhythm was. And, like, I didn't even know what, like, timing was or anything. And it was just embarrassing. Like, I would practice in front of my family, and they'd be like, can you go in a different room?
What you said your dad, he would, like... What did he say? If you're not playing good, he'll just, like, you're out?
No. My dad's motto... is in our basement we have a jam room and the motto is no bad notes, so like anyone can play anything, like everyone's welcome.
Oh, okay. It's opposite.
It's a very open space and just creative. And
he was playing the trumpet the other day and you were like, play it like you just broke your heart, man. Yeah, play like she broke your heart.
I was like, play like you're sleeping on the concrete. Yeah. Like, tell him to play the blues, yelling all these things at him.
You're on the phone. I'm like, who is that? Like, it's my dad.
That's how you gotta do it, man. It's like you gotta play with meaning, feeling. Anything you do in life, just do it with like feeling.
Yeah.
Or else, what are you doing it for?
Yeah, man. Dude, yeah. I'm trying to think any other. What other injuries do you have, dude?
Oh, dude, I got a gnarly one from skateboarding. I was on the deck of a half pipe, and I'd like just started getting back into like skating the mini pipe, mini ramp. Sorry, and so I'm there. I'm like probably how old was I? 17, maybe 16, 17, and I'm standing on the deck waiting my turn. There's this kid skating. He's got like razor tail, which is like when you skate for a while with the deck. A skateboard, it like starts to grind down to like nothing. Like it's just super razor thin and it's sharp. And the kid's going on the mini ramp and he's like skating, and I'm on the deck, and all of a sudden he just falls and like eats it really bad, and his board shoots up, and his razor tail went right through my nose, like right through
the face,
right through the side of my nose, and it was like that thing with your thumb where like you're like in so much shock that you don't feel anything. Like my face went numb.
Yeah, you're numb.
Everything went numb.
Your nose goes numb for a minute.
It was crazy, and then I started feeling this hot feeling, and that was the blood. And I like took my shirt off, and at this time I had like I could still see a little bit, and I took my shirt off, put it over my face, and it was just pure red, dude. Like it was a white shirt.
Yeah.
And it was just and then I was like, oh man, this isn't good. And then I went to feel it to like assess it.
Oh,
and then
no.
I felt my nose, like the side of my nostril, like right
Yeah,
on the side of your nose,
yeah.
and where the crease was, and there was my finger went through it, and I was in my nose, and it was the scariest feeling ever. I was like,
freak out.
I remember just taking it out right away, putting the shirt back over, and being like, guys, I think I need a doctor.
I need stitches.
I know, I was like, I need a doctor, and like my dad was up at work like 2 hours away, and my mom was like away on vacation, and there was no one around, and this kid that did it, he was like 17, 18, he was like, dude, I gotta go, man, and he dipped out in his car, he's like, I gotta go pick my mom up, and left.
Saw that blood, and he was out.
And he's like, I'm not getting in trouble for this, or whatever, and like, then I had to go in the ambulance. I remember like going to the ambulance.
You called an ambulance?
Dude, yeah, they call an ambulance, and the ambulance comes, and then I'm in the back and like trying to like stay calm, but I'm all like, oh, this is so much right now. And
you're pretty young.
Yeah, you're young and alone and just like scared, and you're like, what's gonna happen? Like my nose has a hole in it, dude.
On your face,
and I'm blind, so like I'm bugging out that I'm gonna look like.
Yeah, did you have a scar now or no?
So yeah, you can literally feel on the crease of my nose. There's like a little.
Scarface. I'm gonna start calling you Scarface,
dude. So that was, and then I waited like 6 to 8 hours for like the freaking, what are they called? The surgeon, the plastic surgeon, and they still like messed it up.
I had a very similar thing when I don't even know how old I was. I was little, and we had bunk beds at my mom's house, tiny little house, and on top of the bunk bed with my brother, and I get pushed off the top, and I go straight to my face. So like my chin hits the ground first, and somehow I bit through my lip, like my top teeth went through my lip.
Oh,
I go out in like the living room, and my mom was like, "Here, have some water." I drink some water, and the water just comes out of the hole in my lip and starts coming out.
God, like, that would freak me out.
You gotta go get some stitches.
That would be bad.
That's the first time I got stitched up.
I've had so many just dumb blind things growing up, like even those those cylinder things that are like for tomato plants, the metal cylinder things in gardens.
No,
dude, they're weird. They're like, it's for holding tomato. Oh,
to hold the plant up. It's like a little. It's like
exactly. I literally just bent down and split my eyebrow, like split where my eyebrow is.
Oh, those things are rusty.
Yeah, dude,
those are nasty.
Last one. One time I was a little kid, I was probably like 3, and my cousin had this basement where the steps didn't have like, they had railings, but they didn't have sides. Like you could just fall off the side of the steps, and I literally was like chasing a ball and just stepped right off the side of the steps and like just fell straight down.
Dude,
I'm reckless, like blind person, dude. I like full send forward, like whatever's in my path is gonna get ran.
Before I started using my cane, going up north, there's this little campground that was right on a river, and has a super steep bank on the side, and like I could still move around during the day, but at night I couldn't see anything. It's like kind of how RP is. Your night vision goes first. Mm-hmm. So we're around the fire having some drinks, and I go to take a pee, and I'm like walking like couple steps, dude. Ground disappeared underneath like my next step, straight into this river. It's like, what was it?
Into the river.
It was either right before or right after winter, so it's like icy cold water. I just hit, dude. I don't even know how I fell, but I was chilling, and I just got back up, and then everyone heard the splash, and they come running over, dude, and they're like reaching their hands down to pull me up the bank, but I was just soaked. But before I was using the cane, man.
Dude, I've had the cane. I was so rebellious against it for like the first half of my life. Like I wouldn't use it, and I used to have like people think I was like faking, like, or like something was wrong with me because I wouldn't make eye contact, but I would still like get around well.
Right, they don't know.
And like parents thought I was like on drugs or like drunk, and like I'm like, no, dude, like I'm just blind, and like some people would be like, yeah, right. Like I remember that being a response, and it just, oh man, that gave me so much social anxiety growing up.
Especially other kids who don't, because when you're young you think blind is, oh, you can't see anything,
dude.
But like really you can be low vision, you can be legally blind, you know.
Exactly.
Still be able, and you can, some people can read print still, but they're still legally blind.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like a lot of people think blindness is just black. Like, it's such a spectrum.
Very big spectrum.
It's huge. There's people that can read large print that are considered legally blind, all the way to nothing. When
I got diagnosed when I would actually hit the criteria for legally blind, like 2200 or worse. Yeah, I got a cane then, but I didn't touch that cane for like probably 2-3 years.
Yeah,
until I actually used it.
My mom used to whisper like behind my back when I used to like run into people or something when I was little. She used to like mouth to them like, he's blind. And I like knew she was doing this, and I would freak out. I'd be like, Mom, no I'm not. I'm visually impaired.
But your mom was tight because she'd make you, like you said, like you'd be at a grocery store and she'd be like, here, go. You're like, can I get this candy bar? She'd be like, yeah, go pay for it. And
she'd be like, go find the counter. And I'd be standing there so baffled, like,
how?
You do it. Like, no, I need help. And it's just like, I'm not always going to be there for you. And, that's a big thing, like, not being over coddled as a kid and stuff, especially being blind, For sure. That is huge, because I know so many blind people that just...
super coddled their whole life.
Yeah, and then they kind of need everyone to do everything for them.
Dude, I went to I don't think I told this story. I went to a blind camp. Did I say this?
No.
Was that one of the bad ones, probably?
Yeah.
I went to this blind camp. Kind of got like lured into this. Like, it's for like the Lions Club. It's a big foundation.
I went to blind camp every year for like 5-6 years.
Well, I was 20. I was like 20, like 29, maybe 30. No, I was probably 29 at this point. So I'm like, oh, I'm not a kid.
Was it the Drew camp, the Drew program?
No, it's just through the Lions Club.
Okay.
Like they raise some money and you go. I think I had to pay like $50 and you take a bus in downtown Detroit. You get on the Greyhound, dude. And you take this bus like 3 hours up to like Northwest Michigan, and you stay on like pretty much like a YMCA camp, like where they'd have like summer camps
different, for different camps.
Right? So there's a lake there. There's trails. We'd be walking in the trails, and like these are all people kind of, like from the city. Like some dudes are like pretty hood. They're like walking in the woods, and there's bugs. Like, oh, what was that, man? Squatters up, man, get me out of here! Like not feeling nature at all. No, I was dying, dude.
Yo, it's just a bug.
Everyone was super tight. I like snuck some like whiskey there, and I was having whiskey by the campfire, and like I didn't know how it was gonna be, but it was like, oh yeah, but like 90%. There's only like 2 dudes there who were like independent, you know what I mean, who like weren't coddled,
right?
And like you can tell if someone was raised coddled. You can
click with those people right away.
Yeah, my boy Frazier, dude. Shout out to Frazier. What up, Frazier? He was tight. He took me under his wing and was like, "This is Dan, everybody," and it was like got me hyped up. So that was tight. But the one day where like there was like 3 people kind of running it, like doing everything for everybody, like getting I want a cup of coffee, they'll go get you like a cup of coffee, and I'm like over there like getting my own coffee and stuff. So that was really weird.
To get your own coffee.
But they're like, all right, we're gonna go on the pontoon, and like they gave everybody these little tickets, and I'm like, here, you can have my ticket, dude. Like I've been fishing all summer on a boat, but I like go to walk out on the dock, and this lady's like, whoa, you can't be on the dock without a life vest.
Oh man.
I'm like, what?
30 years old.
You can't be on the dock without. I was like, I know how to swim. She's like, no, you can't be. So I was like, all right. At that point, I was fucking over it, and I just pretty much did my own thing. That was the tipping point, and just walked the trail solo by myself. But yeah, that coddled life, that is probably what makes me, I guess, the most like annoyed in public is when people like don't think you can do anything, and I go to a restaurant and they're like, hey, with my lady, and like, does he want anything?
Oh, that's the worst. When people talk to the person you're with for you, and you're still talking. Like,
I'll be talking to that person,
and then they'll still respond. Like, you'll be like, oh, I'll have this steak and or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, does he want fries or mashed potatoes? And you're like, yo, what?
I think a big part of that might be the eye contact. So now I try to look in that person's like direction of their
But
voice.
it's also hard when there's so much noise. And
Yeah, sometimes you can't do it. Yeah.
Dude, speaking like social anxiety, I think going back to like the cane thing, like when I was younger, when people like would think you're like messed up or like not, you know, something's wrong with you. I'll never forget, because I went to school for the blind leading up until, I would go from New Jersey to Philly every day leading up until 6th grade. And then I finally transferred to the school in Spring Lake where I grew up, and the public school.
School.
Yeah, so I'm in 7th grade, like trying to fit in, you know, it's that weird age. And I'll never forget, I was so excited to go to the dance. Like this.
Oh, the dance.
The St. Dennis dance. It's like the dance.
It's middle school?
Yeah, middle school.
Yeah, middle school
grade,
dance.
Like the dance. And I've never been to one, right? And I just hear stories about like they're awesome, like, you know, great music.
Like don't other schools come to this dance?
Yeah, other schools go.
So you're like, yeah, there's gonna be other girls there.
You don't know, and like it's just awesome. And I'm like so pumped, right? Get like my favorite clothes on, whatever. Go to the dance. I'm waiting in line. Finally, like we're all getting in. All my buddies get through, and then I get stopped, and all of a sudden I'm like talking to a teacher and like another adult or something, and I'm like so overwhelmed. Like, what's going on? And they're like, come with us, and they bring me into a classroom with a police officer, and like, because this is at like a middle school or whatever. So they put me in a classroom with the police officer, and they're like questioning me about, you know, what's going on? Like, is everything okay? And I'm so confused at this point. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, like I'm trying to get in this dance.
I want to go. I want to try my new. I want to try my new.
I want to do the Dougie.
I want to try I want to try the worm out there.
Dude, I did the worm one time. No, but that was when I was younger. But this was, so I'm there and they're doing that, and I'm like so freaked out. Like I'm so upset at this point, and I'm like, they're like, what did you like do drugs? Were you drinking? All this stuff. What's wrong with your eyes? And I remember I was like, I'm blind. Like I can't see well. And they were like, yeah, right. Like not believing me at all. And a police officer, and like also like,
they have the dare officer in there.
The teachers and the dare officer, exactly. And and then I'm like, I remember being so upset I didn't go into the dance. Like actually no, I went in and then I got so upset.
Kind of got pissed. Yeah,
I was just so over it. I couldn't enjoy it, and that literally ruined me for any dances going forward. Like it was even so hard for me to go to my high school prom. Like a girl had to ask me basically, because I was just so against like any of those dances, and because of it added so much anxiety growing up too. Like now that I look back, because it's just, you know, going to all these different places and stuff. You're like, any restaurant or store you go into, you're like, how am I going to treat it, or what's going to happen? And then you just got to, it's like this fear you have to get over every time. And it's just, it's part of like maturing, I guess, too. Like being more secure with how you are and stuff. But that was, I just remember, and it would affect me like with groups of people growing up. Like I wasn't able to open up or like be myself, because I would just try so hard to hide like my blindness or whatever. Yeah,
I still get that anxiety a bit in like a new airport or something like that. Big areas where I'm like, this is kind of overwhelming for a bit.
Yeah, we're going to like a new like a family party or something at a new place, you know, like anything like that. Or
you gotta learn. You gotta
party. You have to learn a whole
map
new
a new house. Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, like everywhere I go, especially places that are familiar, I map it out in my brain. Like
you gotta have it mapped.
Like you know it. Like I even remembered your house coming here this time from last time. Like the death pole in the kitchen, everything. Like
dude, that trips me out. I'll go to like a restaurant once and then go back like 2 years later, and like still know the bathroom's like in that back left corner.
You just know the map.
Because like I think because your anxiety is so high at that point, like it makes you memorize that stuff.
You're
like,
so alert. It's like
so weird.
And then even I remember like when I was younger, even the anxiety would be so bad. I would be like, all right, where's the bathroom if I need to go? And then I'd make a map from where I am to the bathroom, and then like it would just be so much, dude. It was so much to go through the head.
Have you heard of the app where you open it and you start recording and you you can go to like find a bathroom somewhere, and then you hit stop, and then when you can like trace back your steps pretty much. So once you leave, you kind of hit start in the app,
that's crazy.
and it'll say like walk 10 feet and go left.
That's wild.
And it kind of maps it out
That's
for you.
pretty
like
cool.
that. It's kind of weird, but you still have to get to the place. But I never tried it, but
it's just crazy,
interesting.
dude. That
technology, dude.
it like stresses me out thinking about going to all those new environments, but you just have to do
You got to, but once you do it, like you grow a little bit more every time.
Exactly, and that's why like
more and more comfortable.
It's another way of getting out of your comfort zone, and like that's the only way to grow.
I was never more confident in myself than like I spent a week at Leader Dogs for the Blind getting O&M training or using the white cane. And when I came back from that week, dude, I was like empowered, bro.
Oh, dude.
Like I was like,
so
I'm ready to go.
man.
Like every time I went to the restaurant, I was like, Hallie Big, I'm gonna take you to the bathroom. Like, no, I got it.
And
I was
that's good.
like so hyped on the cane, dude.
You know what the biggest thing is too? Is like one of the hardest things to learn and to like get comfortable doing is actually like when you need it to ask for that help.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest tools they teach you too is to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, you gotta advocate. Yeah.
If you don't speak up, you can literally be lost forever.
And dude, 100% of the time when I ask, like, hey, excuse me, do you know where the bathroom is? They'll be like, yeah, go that way. And then I'll make my way if I get lost. Ask another person.
I know.
Hey, is the bathroom this way?
Like, oh yeah, over there. Over there.
And you just kind of slowly make your way to where you're going until you eventually find it. Yeah.
You're like, I think you pointed that way.
But you got to remember, like, dude, people are nice, dude. Like they're
they
good,
really
you know
are.
what I mean? Just ask.
And like, you get so. I learned too. Like, you get so caught up thinking about what other people are thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 9 times out of 10 they're doing the same thing. Like people don't have the headspace to really think about you because everyone's kind of worried about what their like task is. You know.
I get so hyped when me and Heather, my fiance Heather, when we're in public, it's like, oh, there's another blind person.
Yo,
I'm like,
so
yes, like let's go talk to her. And like in the airport, I'm always like, we got to stop. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I'll like walk in front, I'm like, hey, what's up? And I'll kind of try to find his cane, tap his cane. Like, yeah, I'm buying. And then it's just fucking
dude. I love
connection,
that. That's happened to me too. Like
I get hyped, dude.
We've been in like New Orleans and like tap canes with people. Like we've met other couples. Like it's just you meet. Everyone has a story too, and it's insane. Like I met other blind people in Peru. Like it's just crazy.
I love doing that. You just walk right into it with your cane and you tap canes. Like, oh yeah, what's up?
That's the most natural. Like
touching canes, baby.
Oh, we're blind, yo.
Instant connection. That's how skateboarding is, dude. Instantly connected. See another skater somewhere. Doesn't matter.
It's just it's kind of like any like I guess
brotherhood,
you get into like a lot of those. Like same with like wrestling too. Is anytime I never felt like I fit in like really to wrestling, but like I did it so like I love it. I love the sport and everything, but like I don't know. It's still no matter where you are, if there's another wrestler, like they got your back.
You got some
like,
camaraderie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Camaraderie.
No, that's what's cool about those. Even if it's an individual sport, like wrestling and skateboarding, like that all is kind of in a way, you know, and you still make such a brotherhood, and like it's really
you're taking
cool.
it far. Now we travel. You know, you've been all over the world.
Like
I've been in Tokyo and shit for skating and all this stuff. So now, all that fucking practice
exactly
really pays off when you're doing like real traveling like that, dude.
And it's like, dude, like I've slammed people on the mat and been choked out by people on the mat, and then we get off and hug each other. You know, it's like it's no hard feelings. It's just like that with comps. Like that first skate competition I did the other week was insane.
Dude, it's always the most hectic thing. Wait, I think we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, it's trash, but that was a scary.
No, we talked about that last.
Nope.
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, dude. Yeah, the talk about like high anxiety when you're because contests #1 skate contests always have the loudest music blaring.
Loudest.
So you don't have any really cute auditory. And your competition was. They had open skate, so it was a jam session. So all the skaters just skate the course at one time.
3 of us.
Which is like...
2 blind people and 1 adaptive.
There was only 3 of you there, and you ran into somebody 3 different times.
Both of them. like twice each.
That's fucking
and the
makes
person
no
that
sense.
could even see ran into. It's just that hectic.
It's insane.
And your nerves are going, dude. You're
Nerves
like,
going.
Your legs feel like so wobbly.
Oh, your legs,
You're
dude.
trying too many tricks in too little time. You're like, yo, slow down, dude.
You're like out of breath.
You're
10 minutes, 5 seconds.
Throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Your legs are literally at like 60%.
You skate 3 minutes and you feel like you skated 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like you're sweating that much.
It's intense, dude.
Really.
Skating, but you killed it. Second place in advanced bowl. Was only one other person. Second
One other person, but
and
it
then
was really epic.
you won
And
the
then-
beginner for street.
Only other person there.
Only person.
And but it was epic, dude. I showed up, and that's
showed
sometimes
up.
all it takes.
Participation trophy, baby. It was a gold too.
No, but you know what? There's a lot of people that just sit at home and say, "I wish I was doing it." And that's the key, is to just get up.
You
and
got to
do
take
it.
that step of like.
You never know what's gonna happen.
Everybody wants to do it. Once you do it, you might be so nervous going in, and even when you're doing it, but after you did it, you'd be like, "Oh man!" Like you grow, dude.
Dude,
That's
also
how you
trying new stuff. Like you might meet your next best friend. Like that's such.
That's
a
what
time
happened
life
with
for-
us, baby,
Exactly.
in June.
June, baby.
What was 3 days?
I came for. We did the whole skateboarding thing, and like we didn't really talk that much skateboarding. And then it was Dan's birthday, so we came over here, and Heather cooked up all this food, and we were just chilling and talking. And
Dude, we kind of connected after.
exactly, I
Like
agree.
doing voice memos back
Yeah.
and forth, like asking about like social media
social
and
media, skateboarding.
getting endorsements and all this stuff.
Yeah, like trying to ask about, because my page was growing, and Dan already has been doing that stuff, and
Yeah.
it was cool, and just having like another blind person like doing life,
Yeah.
like crushing it, and actually, on that level to
We're
talk
both
to.
we're both super motivated in the social media world, so like
Social media, just like
we had to start something together, dude. Because
Got
I've been asking people like, hey, let's like really bunker down to start filming videos every day.
same here, even just a podcast. Like
Yeah.
I've been trying, and it's hard to get people. Everyone wants to do it.
Yeah.
But once it
Taking
takes
that
the
step,
time,
dude, taking
the,
that
the
step.
time and the work that goes into it it's like anything, dude. Starting from the ground it's overwhelming.
Intimidating,
Sometimes. It's
hard,
really
man.
intimidating. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, and here we are, baby. 4 bad eyes across the board.
It's called consistency, and just keep on pushing.
Conserve and conceal.
Oh man, I called Dan one morning, and he's all like, sounds like he's all depressed and upset, and
Probably was.
and I was all like hyped, like all amped up about something, and I'm like being so over the top, and Dan's like, "Nah, man, it's about conserve and conceal." He's like,
You're gonna be ready for the podcast
yeah,
later?
You gonna be ready, dude? And
I'm like,
he's
dude, I'll be ready.
He's
Conserve.
like, conserve, dude, and conceal. And then later, I'm all tired, and Dan's all off the wall, and he's like, "That's what it's about, baby. Conserve and conceal. Woo!"
Save that energy like an animal in the wild, dude. You gotta wait for your
No, but that
chance to explode.
Dude, that translates to so much, though. Like, dude, if you like even. Going to competitions, anything you do in life, whatever you're doing, like if you go all out, it just doesn't work like
Dude, competitions, anything. I'm like pretty much shut down until it's actually go
when
time.
it's game time.
I did a.
I see.
think it's
I get the problem sometimes. My nerves will get the best of me, and that'll exhaust me.
Oh, see, yeah, I like shut down, and then it's too much. It hits me all at once. I'm like, whoa,
Whoa.
this is intense. Because I'm like, oh, I'm good, I'm chill, I'm fine. I'm not going to be
stresses
nervous.
me out.
I'm not going to be nervous. And then as soon as I call your name in a comp or whatever, but I did a Red Bull had this soapbox derby race. So you build your own soapbox
God.
derby car, and like we're thinking like, oh, it'll be kind of big, whatever. It was in downtown LA. Worked at this surf skate snow shop, ZJ Boarding House, 2619 Main Street, Santa Monica, California. What up, Z?
Santa Monica.
Almost got shut down this year, but they reopened. Sick. But they so like people at the shop, like the reps for Red Bull came in and like, here, fill in this application. We're like, all right, let's just we just wrote down. We literally put down the name of our, I think it was the name of our car and like what we were gonna do. And we're like, dude, we're gonna do a 2-man team, and we're gonna make a limo, like a small limousine soapbox, and like turn that in. Didn't hear that, and then all of a sudden we get a call like, yeah, you guys are in. We're like, what? We're in? Like, okay. Didn't think anything till I think it was the day before. They're like, hey, like, are you guys still gonna do this? And the buddy's like, yeah, dude, I'll weld something up tonight. Welds this thing. I hopped a fence at a school, stole 2 chairs at an elementary school.
Statue of limitations.
That's up. 2 of the chairs. They took the legs off. Those were our 2 seats. And he welded the steering. So if you turned right, it would go left. And turned left, it would go right. He's like, dude, I spent all night trying to figure out how the steering works on a car. And he couldn't get it to reverse. But so that was our car.
Were you blind at this point?
No, I was sighted at this point.
Okay.
So I had just had my son actually, and Callaghan, shout out to Cali boy. Little boy's 13 now, insane. So that was 13. That was 12. That was 13 years ago now. We go to this competition, and like it's like in the city, downtown LA, and like, you guys want to walk the course? I'm like, yeah. Dude, this thing was insane. You walk down this huge roll-in that was like probably 50 feet tall that launches you off, and then you hit and you keep going downhill. There's a jump ramp you launch off, and then like another like 100 yards, there's like a 30-foot tall giant curved bank wall that you have to turn around, hit that bank, and then another like bigger jump at the bottom that you got to hit. And we're like, dude, we are not ready for this, dude. This is insane. Ends up being like over 100,000 people. This crowd is packed to watch this.
100,000 people.
100,000 people watching this, and we're all like, dude, this is it. And then my one buddy. So we had the limousine. So I was a limousine driver, and I think our team was like team prom or something. And he was in a dressed as a girl, like he was the prom date. So you have to do a little skit at the top of the roll-in, and then they say go and you launch. So our skit was like, my buddy kind of came in and was like acting like he's the date. I pushed him out of the way and like stole his date. I put her in like the back of it, put him in the back of the our fake limousine. And I'm like, all right, dude, here we go. It's not. They mounted like we were like a favorite, dude. We were a favorite. Everyone was hyped on us. Couldn't wait for us to roll because I think we're like one of the only 2-man teams. And we mount a helmet on us with a camera and all the GoPro. It's like, all right, dude, we got to kill it. I was like, all right, here we go. So we bomb down the hill. I lift my hands up for a second. Like, put my hands up like a roller coaster. I was like, oh shit, we're getting wild. They grabbed the steering wheel, and we were debating because we had these janky wheels on this thing. Like, do we hit the first ramp? And like, all right, we got it. We just got to go all out for it. We launch off the first ramp. Front right tire blows off the thing. We come to just like a screeching halt, dude, and the wheel just goes flying in the thing. It was such a bummer, so anticlimactic. We didn't even get. I wanted to hit that bank ramp.
So you guys didn't win.
We didn't. We were dead last for our time, dude. We grabbed the car. We had to run the track. We were just carrying the stupid car down the rest of the thing. We got to the end of the thing. I remember walking across all these barriers, and my leg went like through a cap hole in the barrier. I go like to my knee in like nasty barrier water, dude. I'm like, this is intense, dude. But that was the end of that, dude. Oh, that footage is somewhere online, man.
Yeah, find that.
But that was a.
You gotta play that.
Why did I get? Because I remember just leading up. Because everyone gets in a row, working your way up to the top of the ramp, and like pressure's building. But I was just like, everyone's like, Dan, you all right, dude? I was like, yep, I'm fine, dude. I'm just focused, just fucking dead faced. I'm like, I'm like in my head, I'm like, all right, if I want to go left, I lift my left hand because the steering was the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, if I go left hand, right. I'm like practicing that because it was opposite. We fucking didn't get to hit the bank ramp, dude. Oh my god. Yeah.
Dude, I think one of my dreams is to get in like a race car and like just whip it around
fast,
the track. Like even just have a NASCAR racer like take me in the passenger seat.
That might feel different because when you drive a car, like 30 miles an hour doesn't feel any different from 60, 80, or 90.
Like
it feels
once
the same.
You start hitting like $120, it's like, like even that, you're like, whoa, this is pretty crazy.
Oh, you can feel it. I guess I've never gone that fast.
Dude, I've had...
But I was saying like 79 doesn't feel any different.
No, I went 75 on the salt flats.
But like,
Kelly.
But you can't, there's no real... When you're blind, there's no... You can't really tell how fast
because you're not like seeing the road go by.
Flying by.
But there's some definitely, if you're in like a nice car, you'll probably feel some crazy acceleration.
I remember
NASCAR is a whole nother level. Though.
Yeah, I do want to feel that.
Hold back.
There's G-force in that. Yeah, there's actual G-forces pulling at you. I want to do a rally race where I'm sitting passenger. You know what I'm saying? The cars that are like on the dirt tracks and they slide around the corners and they hit jumps and shit. That would be a ride,
that
dude.
Crazy.
That would be a ride as a blind person.
Dude, my buddy in Maine, where I got married, on his property. Shout out to Dan DeWest.
What up, Dan?
Dan DeWest.
Dan D.
Dan D. And he's like he used to do stunt riding with like Harleys and stuff.
Okay.
And like he was sponsored by Harley for like super long.
Yeah.
And he bought this property in Maine. It's like his second property, and he built a whole racetrack, like a track around his house.
Yeah.
So it's
sick.
like this dirt track, and it has jumps. So like he takes you in the Polarises, dude, the 4-wheelers.
What?
Like
Does he jump them?
Dude, with these like. They have these roll cages on them, so if you roll, you're like kind of safe.
Keep your arms in.
Yeah, exactly. And he books it, dude. He puts this like he starts blasting like Kid Rock.
This thing's like all souped up, or what?
Dude,
these little Polarises?
Souped up with like
what?
The shot, like because he's also a mechanic, so he does like the shocks and stuff. And
sounds like so much fun.
He takes off like all the governors and stuff, and like.
Took the govs. Not exactly street legal.
One of them street legal, but he like, dude, he sends it off these jumps, and I'll be in it with him, and he just loves my reactions because I'll go nuts.
You get airtime, so you float for a second.
Like a couple times we've gotten like so much air, and then you land like on the front two wheels where you're about to tip forward to, and it's insane.
That sounds amazing.
It's
dude.
being blind and like. Going on that, it's
so
just
intense.
A rush. But like someone who's sighted be in the back, like, yo, chill, like, chill.
Slow down.
Here I am, like, ooh, not fast enough.
That's how Kelly was when you were driving in the flats. She's like, slow down. How fast am I going? How fast am I?
I just wanted to get 100.
Oh, you wanted to hit 100?
I didn't.
I could tell you're like, how fast?
I think I hit like 85 the fastest time. Like,
yeah.
I'm not sure. But that was...
Check that vlog out on ASF Vision YouTube.
Driving for the first... So you were able to drive.
Mm-hmm.
But I never was able to drive.
Yeah.
And Kelly, like, basically taught me, like, leading up to this, like, little pointers here and there. We would go, like, maybe, like, 40 feet with me driving.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And... Finally, when we went on... Excuse me.
Little baby dragon in here, I think, too.
Finally, when we went on our tour across the country, the music tour, Blind Busking Tour 1.0.
Yeah. 1.0, 2.0 coming soon.
There was a 2.0 already.
Oh,
and,
my bad.
So, Jersey to California and back, we stop on the salt flats and we get off, and Kelly just gets out of the car and switches seats with me. And she's like,
go.
And I'm like, all right, which way? And she's like, any way you want. And I was like, oh, we're on it? And I just start flooring it, dude. And like, that feeling, I can't even explain to you because I've only gone like maybe 25 miles.
Is it literally wide open there? Is there nothing to run into?
8 miles by 8 miles or something like that. Like, it's something ridiculous. And it's where they like test speed limits on cars. Like, it's insane. And I'm just driving so fast, and like Kelly's freaking out. I'm like, how fast am I going? How fast am I going? She's like 75. Like slow down. There's a wall.
One of them, dude. Like, this is kind of funny. When we go ice fishing, when the lake's super thick, you can bring your car out there. And me and my buddies usually do a trip every year. But we're out there. My buddy had like a Ford Escape or whatever. He's like, Danny, you want to drive? End of the night? I'm like, yes, let's get in because it's just a wide open frozen lake, dude.
Oh my god.
And like I go, like feeling around, open the door, I get in the seat, and like I got in the seat really fast, and Mike's like, dude, you're in the back seat. I got in the back seat, not paying attention. Like, oh my god, this is not a good start. But then that was sick. Getting in there because of the ice, you can just whip around donuts.
It's just
so much
why is that
fun.
feeling so freeing? Just being able to drive like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's maybe just because I've never been able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I think people take it for granted, man. Really.
Yeah.
Driving is... I was always the type of person growing up, like, I'd be like, damn, if I could just drive, I would get in the car and just go wherever I want.
Dude, it sucks. Yeah, you're always on somebody's time.
You feel so trapped, and you feel like... Because you always have... No matter what, you have to, like, rely on someone for a ride.
Yeah. You're waiting, you know... Even for the bus, you're waiting, dude. You're making connections. Uber, like, you're still waiting, and like it's freaking weird.
And then you have to worry about finding the Uber.
Yeah, half the time it's like some weirdo, dude. Dude, the day before Halloween, I got a ride home from downtown, getting this guy's van. He's like, "Where we headed?" He had like this kind of like soft, weird voice, super soft, weird voice.
Oh, no.
I'm like, "Yeah, like West Bloomfield or whatever." He's like, "Okay." I can't remember his voice. It was something like kind of creepy sounding. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Skating." I was like, "Oh, cool. Oh, you skate? What's that cane? You just got to use a cane? That cane's not red." I'm like, "It doesn't really have to be." He's like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "What did you do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm retired. I used to be a mortician."
Oh my!
And I was like, I got like really creeped out for some reason. It was like right by Halloween. This guy, this creepy voice, but it was just dude.
You can't have you can't make a visual with the face.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's the worst part.
Is this guy really sketch? I don't know. He ended up being normal. I was asking him all kinds of questions about how you do that. It's pretty weird. But he had like just as bad eyes as me, dude. He getting close to my house gets real windy, and there's like lakes, and it's dark. He literally had to pull over it and let cars pass him. Like, I was sketched. I didn't think I was going to make it home, dude. He pulled over, like, man, these people going crazy behind me. Because I always get picked up from downtown, and, like, usually they're just used to driving in the city, and they get out to me, it's, like, more rural, windy roads and dark. And, like, sometimes there's people who just can't handle it, dude. Took an extra 30 minutes to get home, though. I was like, no, this just sucks. I can't wait for a self-driving car.
Oh man! Shout out to Elon.
I know. I hope we can
try one out.
I hope in my lifetime, dude, they let us drive.
You probably gotten asked this so many times. What was the hardest part, Daniel, about going blind?
About going blind? Yeah. Ugh. All the little things, dude.
Dropping something and not being able to find it for 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes, searching the ground, and it's like
when it's
right underneath your like right knee, close to you, like
even before this podcast, when we were looking everywhere for the other mic stand.
One mic stand.
Mic stand. We were looking everywhere.
And now you're still holding the mic.
I'm still holding the mic.
That's why we're holding the mic.
I'm hunched over. My back hurts.
That stuff, because it over time it wears on you until you bump your head on something for the 10th time and you just snap, dude. Like, God,
it's crazy the things that'll actually break the camel's back.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like you think it'd be like, you know, not being able to drive or not whatever, like these big crazy things, but it's literally like, dude, where's
little
my phone?
Like, yes.
Like, why can't I just scan with my eyes? Like, why can't I just do that scan? Or even sometimes for me, this is like such a I hate this one, but I'll be at a skate park and it's like a skate park where it's set up where you can just flow around like super fast and hit all these features, and I'm standing there, you know, doing my one ledge or whatever, just taking my time on one thing.
You just want to fly,
and all
dude.
I want is I'll just stand there and just picture me flying around this
hair flowing.
Yeah,
dude.
like just jumping out of the bowl, dude. Like doing these backside airs,
back three melon over the hip.
Yeah, exactly. Like just airwalks. Like
I get. Yeah,
because I know if I could see, I'd be sending it on stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I come across things that like on tour and stuff that the dudes are skating, and I'm just like, man, 10 years ago I would have loved this spot,
like a bank,
but for some reason I just can't skate that spot for something. It's like,
it sucks too. It's just, and you have to act like you're all good, like everything's cool, you know.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't belong with the team and shit.
It's just
damn.
It's this dark feeling sometimes that creeps up.
Creepy.
It's just, you gotta fight it every day.
All right, man. I just had a baby dragon.
All right, this is
that's the first episode.
Been 4 Bad Eyes. Please let us know what you think so far, and send us a review. Subscribe, tell your friends, and tell your friends tell their friends.
Unlike unsubscribe, leave a bad comment.
Don't unsubscribe, but you can not subscribe. But don't subscribe and then not subscribe. So that would be not cool, man.
And then, Dan the Mancina across the board is my personal tag, or what is that? Handle?
That's right, handle. And then ASF Vision across the board. And we are 4 Bad Eyes across the board.
Yep. If you want any questions for the podcast, hit that up.
One of our Instagram or the emails.
Dan at 4badeyes.com or Anthony at 4badeyes.com. Yes.
Hope you enjoyed this. Have a great night and keep pushing.
Much love. One love.
One love.
Keep pushing and one love from 4 Bad Eyes.